you have never tried an acoustic drum kit, it's very easy to think that an electronic kit is what you want and what you need. But in this video I want to encourage you to take at least 1 or 2 drum lessons on a real acoustic drum kit, to see, to feel, and to hear what you're missing out. In my humble drumming experience of a few months, the 2 most important things you lose in electronic kits are the air pressure of an acoustic kit, how it pushes the air in your chest, in the room, and the responsiveness of physical drums and cymbals. The way you can manipulate sound, the tone, rather than triggering the same sample over and over again. I think it's called the shotgun effect, when you're triggering the same sample over and over, so it's like, ugh. So those 2 things were crucial for my practicing motivation. Those were also the reasons why after a few years of playing through guitar multi-effect and amp modeling programs, I came back to using my Blackstar HT5 amplifier. It's just 10 times more fun to practice on the real thing. Not only did I enjoy the raw sound of the 10-inch speaker moving the air in my room, or the bass drum resonance in your chest, in your body, I also didn't have the temptation to try other sounds every 5 seconds. Using samples and simulations, whatever, was really that addicting for me when I should have practiced my technique. The 2 obvious reasons to get an electronic kit are how silent and flexible they are in terms of sounds, VSTs you can trigger and record at the same time. You simply don't need to buy a huge audio interface and expensive microphones or even learn how to mix. Yet at the same time, you won't develop the recording and mixing skills you might need in the near future, because sooner or later we all try to record ourselves, but usually we give up once we discover it doesn't sound like the records we love. I believe it is something we need to go through and learn better sooner than later. I guess in terms of basic groove recording, electronic drum kit wins. You can use it at night, having fun with all sorts of vintage drum kits and sounds. It is an especially useful tool for those who are also interested in electronic dance music. They can use it to experiment with far more complex beats, instead of raping your MIDI keyboard and getting the same results over and over again. It's just like breaking the patterns using your whole body, your hands, your legs. But in terms of practicing, I would always 100% practice even with the cheapest acoustic kit with its own cymbals rather than an amazing electronic kit. You can definitely make this kit sound very, very good by getting coated skins or investing in a nice set of second-hand cymbals, but the electronic kit will always sound and feel the same. Maybe not sound, but you don't get the same response of the drums in the room. It's kind of same but different. On my YouTube channel, I try to emphasize the importance of finding the right guitar teacher, the right exercises and the right tools, but the big part that feeds your discipline, what keeps you going in the long run, is also finding the tools that keep you motivated. Even if you feel no progress and until you figure out what you were missing until then. For example, what feeds my guitar discipline right now is actually me learning and practicing acoustic drums and suddenly being able to play easy songs on my own. If you're wondering how you can record yourself later on a budget, my old faithful Zoom H1 recorder turned out to be an amazing recording tool. It sounds great. The built-in stereo microphones give a nice stereo spread. Make sure you put your hi-hat on the left channel when you're listening in your music audio editing tools. And what I tend to do is to put the microphone as close as possible to the snare drum, but still capturing the cymbals, the floor, and trying to get the room as dry as possible, because you can always add reverb in software, but you can't take it out pretty much. So record as dry as possible, but still keeping all the drums relatively balanced in their levels in the mix, because if you get too close to the snare, you'll hear only the snare. Then you just throw some EQ and compressor presets on the track in your music editing software of choice. Mine is Reaper, and you get a very nice drum sound for your recording experiments. Then once you add bass, guitar or synth on top, you might even get a better result than close miking every single drum. I think it depends on the style of music you like and what you're trying to get. This video, my advice for you is to Google drum school in your area, or go to a music store and ask them if they give lessons or can teach you a basic drum groove to try out some kits in the store. Acoustic kits and cymbals sound very different from one another. There are many wonderful kits that you may fall in love with from a first sight, and you just might find your soulmate kit at that moment that will serve you till the rest of your life. Every music instrument is a journey, especially drums and percussion instruments, so enjoy it and have fun.